2 minutes. He's just coming.
Acha, okay. Okay, because we have just 4 minutes to start.
Yes, sir.
Sir, good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, very good evening. Very
Good evening, sir. Good evening. So we are all set. So who will be admitting? I think Digvijay Singh will be admitting. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are admitting if anyone is in the lobby.
Yeah. And what I'll do is I'll just start off and invite Sadanandan to do the welcome speech as soon as the time comes.
Yes.
And I'll keep on anchoring it so that there is no time gap and there is no confusion. So we'll wait till 4:30 and then we'll switch off. Only the speaker need to be on the video so that there is no problem.
I think people might be joining. The number is still not very good.
Yeah, I know. How many people are there? 10, I think.
सब डायरेक्ट ज्वाइन हो जाएंगे
Huh? No. I think we can start at 6:35. Would it be all right?
Yeah. We'll wait for 5 minutes.
Yeah, because
how many are there now?
It's about around 20.
16, I think. 16.
Yeah.
So when we start, I think only the video we may have to switch off. So
that can be done. Yeah.
But you should be there. You can be there. No problem. You can remind.
Yeah, Sadanand should be there. Sadanand should be there.
Yeah, but 16, I think now after some time I'll check with Paragji also. He should be ready.
He would be joining what time?
Paragji should join after our, he will be joining. I mean, he has not told me, but I have told him that 10, about 20, 25 minutes he can join.
Okay.
Or maybe even earlier. I'll check up.
Good evening, Yoga B sir.
Logabi, good evening. You are muted.
Good evening, sir. Good evening,
Good
everyone.
Let me use this opportunity to introduce you to Dr. Dharam Buddhi. He is the Vice Chancellor of Uttaranchal University. Dharamji, Logabi is one of our star faculty
Yeah,
members.
very good evening.
Namaskar, sir. Namaskar.
Children? Okay. Yeah, it's a wonderful beginning, but that's all I can say.
I'm just alerting Mr. Parag. Priyanka ji, good evening. How are you? Yeah, we are online. I think about 17 people have joined. So when is Parag expected to join? I would suggest that if he can join right now, or maybe after about 10-15 minutes, he can come online. You coordinate that, okay? Because all the audience are waiting. No problem.
Mr.
Thank.
Jayakumar, I'm here. I have joined.
You already joined. Thank you. Welcome. Good evening, Parag ji. Yeah. Good evening.
Yeah, very good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Let me use this opportunity to introduce you to Dr. Dharam Buddhi. He is the Vice Chancellor of Uttaranchal University. And another good friend of mine, Loghabi Raman. He is one of the senior faculty members, ex-BHEL.
Namaskar,
And
sir.
my colleague, Sadanandan, he is already there. I thought that you may take some time. That is why I just alerted Priyanka. I said maybe, after 5-10 minutes, he can join. But I think, Dharamji, if you say it is okay, we can probably start.
We should.
Yeah, okay. Welcome to all of you. We'll start this program with welcome speech by Mr. Sadanandan. Sadanandan, off to you.
Respected Mr. Parag Sharma, Dr. Dharam Buddhi, Dr. P. Jayakumar, Dr. Vijay Singh, and faculty members and valuable participants. A very good evening to all of you. A warm welcome to the respected guests and participants for the inauguration ceremony of certificate course in design, installation, and commissioning of solar PV photovoltaic systems organized by the Center of Excellence for Energy and Eco-Sustainability by Research, shortly called CER of Uttaranchal University, Dehradun, in association with Arbitrus Consultants, Private Limited, Pune, within the framework of Skill Council for Green Jobs, Government of India. Once again, welcome to this 60-hour online training program. As the coordinator of this training program, it is my privilege to welcome Professor Dr. Dharam Buddhi, Vice Chancellor, Uttaranchal University. He is the driving force in ideating a unique course like this. He is a highly reputed academician, a PhD holder from IIT Delhi in energy system, and has served as Vice Chancellor at Gyan Vihar University, Jaipur, and also as Pro VC of Lovely Professional University, Jalandhar. He has, to his credit, over 11,000 research citations. His interests are on solar thermal energy, energy conservation, energy storage, and green buildings. He is an international specialist, a freelance consultant for Asian Development Bank for green power projects in Sri Lanka. He had been a visiting professor for various overseas universities like Spain, Japan, Taiwan, and New Zealand. He was on the editorial board of international journals. He has guided around 16 research scholars leading to PhD degree and around 90 MTech students. He has around 93 patents to his credit. We are thankful to you for the cooperation and trust that you have bestowed on us to be the training partner for this certificate course. We look forward to your valuable guidance and support for the success of this wonderful training program. We welcome you, sir, once again. My special welcome to Sri Parag Sharma, who agreed to our request to deliver the presidential address at this inaugural function. We are honored and are thankful to you for accepting our invitation to address our participants. Sri Parag Sharma is a benchmark for his multi-domain achievements, and he is an entrepreneur, founder, chairman, and CEO of O2 Power Private Limited, Gurgaon, one of the fastest growing renewable energy organizations in the country. O2 Power has got an order book of renewable energy assets of approximately 1.8 gigawatts, serving the commercial and industrial customers in various states in the country. With 400 megawatts of assets already in operation, partnerships are drawn with global majors, Ovin Energy for the battery energy storage system, and Vestas for wind turbines. O2 Power is is on a steady growth path. They are working to accelerate Indian transition to clean energy by building solar, wind, and hybrid projects. Sri Parag Sharma, an electrical engineer from AMU, MBA from Delhi IIT, LLB from Delhi University, with over 25 years of industry experience, was heading the Renew Power as Chief Operating Officer before establishing O2 Power. Sri Parag also occupies the chair of the Vice Chairman at the Confederation of Indian Industries National Committee on Atmanirbhar Bharat, RE Manufacturing. Additionally, he is also the Vice Chairman at WIPPA, Wind Independent Power Producers Association. We look forward to hearing from you, sir, on the opportunities that the renewable energy sector offers in our country as well as overseas. We express our hearty welcome to you, sir. It's my privilege to welcome Dr. P. Jayakumar, CMD of Arbutus Group, an industry veteran with over 52 years of experience and had spent 30 plus years in solar industry in various areas, right from solar wafer manufacturing and sales to design and implementation of megawatt level grid connected solar PV projects. He was instrumental in conceptualizing the first megawatt capacity on-grid solar plant in the country, established at Asansol, West Bengal. We, Arbutus Consultants Private Limited, has about 250 plus clients still and has done advisory services of over 15 gigawatts. Arbutus had trained over 1,000 plus persons in solar PV through various programs like that organized by Karnataka Power Corporation Limited, Kerala State Electricity Board, etc. We had conducted training program for many batches at the University of Pune, and we have a No Solar, a unique program crafted to train new personnels interested in pursuing career in solar photovoltaics. We welcome you, sir, and look forward to your views and on solar PV industries and opportunities ahead. The success of any training program depends on the faculty who deliver the lectures. We are fortunate to bring in the best industry experts in the respective areas to handle each topic in the curriculum. Today, we have Sri Ravi Kumar sir and Sri Lokabiraman sir. During his 40 years of experience, Raviji had worked in Central Electronics, Siemens Solar, Shell Solar, and Tata Solar. He is a master trainer at Skill Council for Green Jobs, and he is a core committee member for CII India Green Building Council. Sri Lokabiraman sir, a retired senior DGM, BHEL, Bangalore, with over 30 plus years in solar PV manufacturing, and also in the design and engineering and implementation of small to megawatt utility scale solar PV projects. Sri Logabiraman sir is a recipient of the Elsina Award and several productivity awards. He holds a technical patent on the rooftop integrated BIPV system. Imparting knowledge and training is a very special skill. We wish to mention that our faculty members are excellent trainers. I wish to take this opportunity to extend warm welcome to Sri Ravikumar and Sri Logabiraman. Looking forward to hearing from users, views and thoughts and methodology on this training program. I extend hearty welcome to Dr. Digvijay Singh, Assistant Professor at the Uttaranchal University, who is coordinating the training on behalf of CER. Another key element in the success of any training program is the active interaction of the participants. We are lucky to have enthusiastic and talented participants. We welcome you all for this course and kindly enjoy the 60-hour training. The training sessions are scheduled to commence on 4th August and end on 18th September. To facilitate smooth conduct of the program and convenience of the working professionals, the session shall be of 2 hours duration between 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. as per the training calendar shared. The topics covered are energy scenario, PV basics, the grid and hybrid systems, planning and design of SPV systems, detailed project report, installation and commissioning, energy economics and environment, operation and maintenance, battery energy storage system, floating solar PV system, solar EV charging, and government policies and regulations. We will have 2 assessments during the course, and the details of the assessments and criterion for award certificates will be advised during our training sessions. I wish all the best to all the candidates enrolled for the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Sadananda. I think you summarized the program and you also given a very good background about the people who are participating and the faculty members, which are very important. And now may I request Dr. Dhanabuddhi, Vice Chancellor of Uttaranchal University, to say a few words. Sir, you have to unmute.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Jackmot, for inviting me. Our guest of the evening, Shri Prag Sharma ji, Dr. Jaykumar, and your colleague, Dr. Sadanand, speakers of the training program, the resource persons of the training programs, participants. Really, it's a great event that today we are inaugurating jointly a training program on solar power plants. Because as of today, the designing of solar power plants or its commissioning or installations or utilizing them is a dream of every country. And Government of India has taken a lead of that. As I read in the reports that we have planned by 2050, I think we are going to be having about 500 gigawatt clean energy sources, and the solar is going to play a major role in it. So when we say 500 gigawatt, it means that a lot of resources are required. And one of the most important resources is the human resource. I personally feel if we can have a trained human resource to install, to commission them, to design them, plan them, that can make a change as the requirement of the United Nations, that is the climate change action plan. So what I personally feel that if we can train a good manpower, skilled manpower in this area, I think I have read somewhere, then even millions of people will be required in this particular technology to run these plants, to maintain these plants, as well as the installations and commissions. So what I feel the kind of the topics which we have selected as shared by Sananandji is really wonderful. The most important part which I feel preparation of a project report. if I can make an appropriate project report, I feel my 50% work is done. And I remember that when in 2010, the solar mission was started, Jawaharlal Nehru solar mission was started. At that time, there was a hope that definitely the India is going to lead. And that was the initial starting point in the country. Otherwise, I remember when I was in IIT Delhi, the cost of 1 watt solar panel was about 300 to 400 rupees. Now it has come to 25 to 30 rupees. So the cost has considerably reduced. And one of the factor is the mass production, mass utilization. Now I can generate my power. I can also feed into the grid. I'm a power generator now, not a consumer only. In fact, when I installed one of the power plant, solar power plant on the roof, we purchased the power at a 4 rupee per unit, and either we were purchasing from the grid that was about 10 rupee. So in fact, we were saving 6 rupees per unit, which was a miracle. I think it's a miracle which the solar power plant has done in the country. Initially, the plan was to go for a solar parks and others, but later on when it was decided that a roof should be used, and that has given a major opportunity. Already in India, we have applied a lot of roofs have been used. In fact, Government of India has made it mandatory for academic institutions and other organizations, government organizations. In this, if we talk about this particular program, like Uttaranchal University, our Center of Excellence in Energy and Eco Sustainability Research is a part of that, along with ARCTUS. And the most important, another partner is Devi Ahalya University, School of Energy and Environmental Studies. They are also participating to this particular program. And I think they will also be giving certain exposure, certain talks to the participants. I feel whenever we should organize such programs, we should make utilization of the resources which have the experts from the industry. And in this particular program, when Dr. Jay Kumar designed it, he had the resource persons, the experts, who will be talking with the participants how to design, how to select the material, how to utilize them efficiently, and how can analyze my power analysis of a solar power plant. At present, if I'm not wrong, the utilization factor may be around 18 to 20%, depends again the location and the place of utilization. And I feel slowly as we are getting higher and higher efficient solar power cells, perhaps tomorrow, maybe after 10 years, maybe after 6 years, we might be having a better technology which is going to change the society and betterment for the mankind of the society, in particular in terms of the climate change, because that's a worry of everyone across the globe. With these words, I say thanks for inviting me, for giving an introductory talk. Thank you very much.
Sadanandan, unmute. Sadanandan, you're done.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful speech. And I invite Dr. P. Jaykumar to deliver his views on this program.
Thank you, Sadanandan. Respected Parag Sharma, Dr. Dharamji, Sadanandan, Dr. Digvijay, and friends. I think first of all, I would like to take a few points from what Dr. Dharamji left. One of the most important thing is that the university is taking interest in terms of propagating the knowledge in the solar energy field. On one side, we are looking at a 30% or 35% growth in the country, and we are talking about 500 gigawatts by 2030. But then I think who is going to manage this? Who is going to design the plan? Who is going to be in the operation maintenance side? Because ultimately what is important is that as the normal thing is said, you have Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, and Brahma can always create, but you need a lot of Vishnus who have to sustain the plant. So most of the experience that we have seen is in terms of maintenance and operation of the plant, because the plant starts with a PR ratio of maybe about 78, 80%, and within no time, it gets reduced to about 72% and things like that. So I think it is a very, very important aspect to have capacity building in the country, especially with the kind of target that we are talking about. In fact, if you look at 2021, Probably the global level, it has touched about 295 gigawatts and it's growing at the rate of about 8%. And in India also, we have a very, very high target. And I think we have already touched about 52 gigawatts. And if you look at the last 5 years average, we are probably moving at the rate of about 5 to 10 gigawatts per year. I mean, this is what is happening. Now, a small calculation shows that every 5 gigawatt addition, you need nearly 1 lakh people. So either some are contract employees, some are O&M employees, some are basically direct permanent employees. The permanent employees may be in the order of about 6,000, 7,000 per year, 5 gigawatt requirement, but it is something like 90,000 in contract and indirect employments. And O&M needs about something like 150 people. So the requirement of people when you talk about 200 gigawatt or 500 gigawatt, it is quite enormous. And unless otherwise a very systematic training program is adopted for this purpose, I think it is going to be a little difficult for maintenance of these power plants, not only in India, but even coming abroad. Why I'm saying that is basically as Arbutus, Sadanandan mentioned that we have done about 20 gigawatt of consultancy and engineering services in India and abroad, including US, Europe, and Philippines, Southeast. We always find that the capacity is of very great importance because it is not only the standards and the designs, but the best practices when you go to the site, that has to be followed. The best practices are never given in a document. The documents are IEC standards or any standard gives about the standards, but the best practices come out of training and skill. So I think this is ultimately the pudding is in eating. So one has to probably look at the capacity building in a very big manner. Now, what is going to happen to the solar PV industry in the world? In the world, if you look at nearly 29% of the global energy requirement is already from renewable energy, and from solar and wind plays a very important aspect in the whole thing. And on one side, we have the movement on the climate change and other things where you want to really bring in renewable energy to replace fossil fuel. And the other thing, it has now become more or less, economically also convenient to have renewable energy. It is not only the olden days climate change or carbon emission. I think today, if you look at the diesel generation and the solar is far, far cheaper than diesel generation. So that is the way things are moving forward. Now, what exactly are the requirements in terms of manpower? I would put it in 5 phases. The first phase basically is the R&D. The second is primarily the design and engineering. The third is construction and monitoring. Fourth is O&M. And the fifth is, I would say, re-engineering. Because the plants, when they become about 10 years or 15 years old, you need people to re-engineer that and enhance. You see, especially when the module prices in a long term is dropping down. Dr. Dhananji was talking about 300, 400 rupees per watt per system. I started my solar industry in 1991 when the wafer cost was 250 rupees. Okay, so you can imagine how the whole cost has come down now. And I'm very happy to design systems with 3.5 crores or even 2.75 crores per megawatt today. So I think this is the way we are moving. And I'm very happy that Uttaranchal University has taken the lead in terms of bringing an academic. I'm sure Dr. Dharamji did not mention to you, but in addition to this 60 hours program, he's also planning to start MTech programs, 2-year MTech programs at the university. So I'm sure that all of you are likely to get benefited. Thank you very much. And I'm now looking forward to my friend, Mr. Parag Sharma, to share his valuable knowledge with the participants. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dr. Jayakumar. Thanks for inviting me here. It's my pleasure to listen to Dr. Dharam Buddhi, the Vice Chancellor of Uttaranchal University, and pleasure to meet the faculty members who are there on this call, Mr. Lokabir, Mr. Ravi Kumar Gurmurthy, and very nice meeting you, Dr. Digvijay Singh. So what I would like to just add is that we all know this, but again, to repeat, renewable is growing a lot. There might be some apprehension that the world may go back to coal-based power plants, considering whatever has happened over the last 6-7 months. But I have no doubt that that will never happen. The one and the simple reason for that is that there is no one who is ready to fund a coal-based power plant today. You talk to any global lender, whether it is Standard Chartered Bank or DBS, everybody has set a deadline to invest in a conventional power plant. Everybody has declared that beyond 2030 or beyond a certain date, they will never be funding any conventional power plant. So with that being the fact that the renewable will be the only source of investment for coal, for a power generation, maybe some bit of nuclear to add to it, we all are going to look forward to a regime where more than 40-50% of the power will come from renewables, maybe in 30-40 years down the line. So what are the challenges which are associated with this, with so much of renewables coming to the grid? I think the first and the foremost, we all know about this, is that we have to manage the grid. Both are the ways in which India is managing the grid, because we can afford to do it, because right now renewable is just 10 to 11% of the total power. But with the vision, and as both Vice Chancellor and Dr. Jayakumar mentioned, we are talking about 500 gigawatt by 2030. So if we have to be there, we have to move to ancillary services market, which is more developed. We have to really talk about storage very soon, whether it is the pumped hydro storage or whether it is the battery energy storage. So the one thing which is very clearly written on the wall is that let's prepare for grid integration of renewables with the rest of the grid. The second topic, which also has been discussed just now, is the scarcity of land. If we are talking about doing 50 gigawatt a year, and that's the only way to reach 500 gigawatt, we being at 150 gigawatt today, then where is the land and how easy it is to acquire that amount of land? And the things associated with this is that we need to move towards high efficiency modules. We need to start thinking about repowering, what incentives, what schemes government can bring in to repower our old wind turbines, to repower our solar power plants. Maybe in the medium to long term, we have to start thinking of offshore wind and floating solar power plant, given the constraints that we have on the land side. The other thing which we have to really be ready for, that 50 gigawatt can't be delivered by the way the bidding is conducted in India. We can't just depend upon the state distribution licensees purchasing this power. We have seen a huge resistance from their side over the last couple of years. They are always conservative in terms of contracting power in the long run. And if we depend upon them, we will never be able to add 50 gigawatt. So what as an industry, we believe that C&I, which is direct sale to commercial and industrial category of customers, and the green hydrogen, these two are the elements which will really make us move to the level closer to 50 gigawatt. Look, India has been good in announcing the targets, though it's a good achievement. We have reached to 110 gigawatt of wind and solar. But just to remind everyone, we were supposed to be at 175 gigawatt by end of 2022. So we are hardly at 60% of our target levels. But having said that, achieving 110 gigawatt was good. But when we are talking about 500 gigawatt, we need all the engines to fire. We need to promote C&I. We need to promote green hydrogen on the back of big procurement from distribution licensees. On top of that, we all know the pain of our power sector. Pain of power sector is not the transmission business. It's not the generation. Both of these are very efficient in India. It is the distribution sector. We have to be upfront in saying that this sector needs to be privatized. If at all government has any roles, the distribution licensees can be the owners of the wires business, but the metering, billing and collection has to move to private. Otherwise, there's the problem of non-payment of bills and more than 1 lakh crore of pending bills will never be resolved. So having said all these things, the core thing is that we need to upgrade the skill sets of the people. Vice Chancellor sir has very rightly said the most important resources to really fire for is the people. And to move the skill sets of the people, we need to, this is a training which is for starters, I would say, in a way for solar sector. But yes, going forward, we need trainings for how to convert green electrons into green hydrogen or ammonia or methanol. That is a specialization which very few people have. And if there is a suitable training for that, companies like us are really ready to spend a lot on these things, because this we believe is something which our engineers don't know as of now, and very few skill sets is available in the industry. Similarly, the desire of each and every large corporate today is to turn net zero. So all these studies required to do scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 studies, how to really calculate whether you have become a net zero, what are the means to go towards net zero. So any trainings or skill set development around that will not only be required by developers or generators like us, it will be required in every environmental department of a corporate. They really need to learn what actions at their end will make them turn into net zero. And this list goes on and on. There are so many other things needs to be done. Hardly in India anybody knows manufacturing. So much of investments happening in manufacturing of modules and the whole value chain going up to polysilicon. But where are the engineers who have experience to do manufacturing? So this list goes on, and my request in this forum, where there are right set of people, is that if we can design courses around these areas, green hydrogen, manufacturing, the scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3 studies. So that would be really an add-on to these basic basic courses that anyhow we will be continuously coming back to you and imparting these trainings to all our engineers. So with this, my best wishes for the success of this course. I strongly believe it is a continuous exercise where academia and the practitioners like us need to keep meeting and develop these courses on a long-term basis. Thanks a lot, Dr. Jayakumar, for inviting me here.
Thank you, sir.
I think Mr. Sadan, you are on mute.
You're on mute.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'll repeat for about 2 minutes. I said, Mr. Parag, thank you very much for coming in and touching a very, very important areas of the subjects solar PV industry. I think you started and gave a very good confidence that the coal industry is not going to come back. And that means the renewable energy will have a future. All of us earn our bread through renewable energy, not only from the climate change point of view, but for our own daily bread and butter. So I think that gives us tremendous amount of confidence and consolation. You also mentioned about the kind of grid. Everybody talks about the capacity upgradation, 1 gigawatt plants, robotic manufacturing, and other things. But nobody talks about upgradation of grid connectivity and load flow studies. And these are the very important areas if we have to go on a holistic basis. You probably also talked about land. I think the land becomes a very, very important aspect. I know that starting from about 6 acres per megawatt, we have come down to something like 2.5 acres per megawatt. But even then, if you are talking about something like 50 gigawatt per year and moving upward to touch the 500 gigawatt target, the land becomes a very, very important aspect. It is not only land, how the land is going to be acquired and how the ROW is going to be established. You are also talked about basically the distribution side upgradation from the distribution company. Transmission generation may be upgraded, but distribution side one has to focus. And the very important aspect that you mentioned, I would like to put it in a different manner. We out of 175, we only touch 110. I started this industry or got into this industry in 1991 when we considered 100 kilowatt power plant to be the largest in the world. Now, you know, when you say 110 gigawatt, I consider the other way. I think we have achieved 110 gigawatt. So I think we have definitely developed the entire infrastructure and the momentum and acceleration required to move to 170 or 500. That is what gives me satisfaction. The more important aspect, the last but not the least, you talked about the future. I think primarily it is not just the green electron. It is also in terms of green hydrogen, net zero, manufacturing, and other aspects in terms of training in scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. So we take your inputs, and I'm happy, and I'm sure Dr. Dharamji also would have noted, and with your help and in touch with you, we will develop new programs. Thank you once again for sparing your precious time. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I would
Thanks, sir.
just
Thanks a lot.
like to just share. We have one of our friend in Australia, and he is working on the hydrogen infrastructure development in Spain and Europe, few countries. I think next time we can have either a webinar or a training program based on green hydrogen generation and of course its infrastructure development.
Okay, good. I think that's a very good point, Dr. Dharamji. We should probably look at our next program where we should write part of green hydrogen as well. With that, now let me invite my dear friend, Mr. Lokabhiraman, who is going to be, I would say, a Tendulkar of the training program, if I may say so. Lokabi, as Sadanand has already said, has spent his lion's share of his official career with the BHEL. And I think he has been right from silicon to systems. So I have the pleasure of inviting Lokabi to share a few words. Lokabi, off to you.
Good evening, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to be along with the industrialists, Vice Chancellor, Sir Paragji, Dr. Jaykumarji, Sadanandanji, and Dr. Digvijay Singhji. Most of the aspects that has been done has been brought on the board. I would like to get into a bit of insight as a part of the asset management. Whenever I used to visit as a third-party evaluator to various solar sites after my tenure in BHEL, I used to witness solar power plants which have been working extremely well for the last 11 years, 12 years. But at the same time, I have seen solar power plants, sorry to say this, have been awfully bad in their performance, which are just 3 years old, 4 years old. So we did a detailed analysis, of course, through Arbutus. We did a detailed analysis. We went through the details. We could unearth few of the important points that come into the picture. This is basically I am addressing to the participants. What is it in terms of, number one, the design and engineering aspect. We all talk of standards. We all talk about the ways in which things have to be done, but it is the design consideration, the best practices that needs to be followed, as Dr. Jaykumar sir said. The installation methods, keeping in mind the longevity of the plant. In fact, my association with NTPC, NHPC, NLC, SECI, and also through various IEC committees has always prompted me that we have been very good at documentation. We have fantastic standards to quote with. Maybe to a large extent, we also prepare a good drawing, but not in all the cases. In many of the cases, the implementation, various reasons could be there. It's not that a group or a team fails to do it. Maybe the site condition, maybe the roadability or the transportability of the items, things does not perform as they have been designed. As Dr. Jayakumar sir said, maybe within few years of installation of the plant, it gets into re-engineering. So this is where we have tailored the program in such a way where we will talk about the manufacturing. In fact, this is precisely how and why, as Mr. Parag Sharma has explained, I have gone into the bit details of the processing, the manufacturing. Manufacturing of what? Manufacturing of solar cells, terrestrial grade solar cells, and the modules. I had posed this question to myself. Is this required? Would it be well appreciated and accepted by the participants? Now, the point here is, I would like to just take 1 minute to explain this. The way we handle solar modules, the way we store the modules, the way we do intra-transportation and inter-transportation of the modules, vis-a-vis the class 1000, class 100 area in which we process the solar cells and wafers, we find that there is a lot of gap. Therefore, to inculcate the importance as to how we need to handle these items. In fact, every participant must put a question to himself that is it so important to take care of these things? There are many things I keep telling in my lectures that they should not be dealt like an electrical system. A little more than that. As a semiconductor, it is to be handled. Therefore, I want to take the participants through the journey right from the silicon to the solar cell, how efficiencies are achieved, and how in a clean room area they are manufactured, and how up to the international, to take care of the international standards, the encapsulation of the solar module happens. And whenever you try to purchase modules, what are all the protocols you have to follow? What slightly, if I may call it as hanky-panky things that can get through, and how the identification of the solar modules in terms of their binning to be carried out. Like, I will go through in detail. All I would request every individual participant is to carefully listen. Please make a notes, because the PPTs through which we talk maybe a little lesser, but when we talk, we will elaborate, and definitely we will make it most interactive session. And uh, Parag sir, as you rightly mentioned, hydrogen is the thing. After my post-retirement, I have taken this as an assignment through Arbutus. We will take up a hydrogen program. I have got a colleague who was with me in Indian Institute of Science by name Dr. Bhavana Singh. She is presently placed in Germany. She would be happy. In fact, I have been trying to find a platform where we can conduct this. And in a humble way, I have started my journey in hydrogen through, one of the lay and NRL are the areas at which I'm trying to work with, right from a PEM electrolyzer to the balance of plant. So including fuel cells. So the fuel cell was one area where I had a bit of exposure and association with our R&D Hyderabad in BHEL. So that actually evinced me to take interest in the hydrogen generation. Therefore, we will take up hydrogen also, provided there would be interest and there are seekers for it. Now, coming to the grid stability right through the power systems, my interaction with the RLDCs and LDCs, and of course, I have been conducting sessions for LDCs. It's a very pitiable thing to note that LDCs at some point of time they would say, I don't want this power. Well, they have a point in it. As electrical engineers, we are supposed to take care of active power control, reactive power control, PF control. Well, I think for the last 1.5 years to 2 years, PASOCO has made guidelines. Power plant controllers are into picture, which will take the command of every solar inverter, which I will explain little detail in my sessions, foregoing sessions, where we are able to really have a good control on the reactive power. This is one of the challenges that needs to be addressed to when we are talking of a 220 kV grid, 400 kV grid with a 100 or 200 or 250 megawatt plant. So this is where in a humble way I could contribute, where we came out with a white paper with PASOCO, that how we can implement through inverters, through but taking over the complete command of inverter and start working on the reactive power control, active power control, PF control, and things like that. We will. I'm very sure with this um, uh, kind of participants we have students, we have industry people, we have our own people who have evinced interest in this program. I'm sure we'll be able to interact well, and then um, basically I'm going to consider take up a short course on the energy storage system also, mainly on battery energy storage system. I have also taken a case study of a mini grid system where we have about 2 megawatt hours of lithium ion battery, 1 megawatt of solar with a combination of diesel generators, which is a case study which has been installed recently in Leh. So this is one of the case study I'm going to touch upon. Uh, I I once again welcome a warm welcome to all the participants. I'm sure throughout.
Mute. You have to unmute. Yogabi, you have to unmute.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah. So uh, this is one of the important point. Dr. Sir, I have mentioned. I don't know whether all of you could hear. I'm sorry, I was on mute. Dr. Bhavana Singh is a leading personality in PEM electrolyzer. She was with me in Indian Institute of Science. She is presently in Germany. Maybe we can jointly work out a program to have on green hydrogen generation. I have been doing in my humble way towards the balance of plant systems. So together we can have a session on that. In fact, if there are good seekers for it. So I was talking about power plant controllers. I was talking about the active power control, reactive power control, so on and so forth. So in nutshell, I will touch upon the right from silicon to solar cell manufacturing to module manufacturing to systems, subsystems, the codes and standards, the do's and don'ts, basically, and what is the care that one should exercise during storage, erection, installation, commissioning, post-commissioning procedures. That's the reason I have taken a small capsule on PG test, performance guarantee test, which would really ensure that the step-by-step procedures that has been followed during erection commissioning is in order, which would become the lead for the operation maintenance. I will also touch upon the operation maintenance of the solar power plants, which time immemorial, we have been talking about. There has been a gap in terms of operation and maintenance. Those are the areas which we will, talk in detail. Thank you very much. I'm really very happy to get associated in this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lokabi. I think, first of all, thank you very much for making yourself available for this program. As usual, I mean, you never turned down my request. So I'm very, very thankful to you for making yourself available. And I think the participants are going to be extremely benefited by the wide and varied experience that you have. Today, what is happening is training has become something like a cooking by the book kind of thing. So basically, people who are not even seen a module, they get into training program. So against that, we are positioning faculty members who have gone through the thick and thin of the, solar power plants or module manufacturing. So I think the participants are going to be immensely benefited by your knowledge and your delivery skills. I think you mentioned about 3 important points. One is basically the installation methodology. You're absolutely correct. Documents are good, wiring diagrams are made, bill of materials are prepared, but ultimately who implements it, nobody knows what kind of capacity they have got. So I think it is a very, very important aspect in terms of, this is what I mentioned as practices. You also talked about manufacturing. I think it is extremely important, especially since we have done this performance evaluation of various module manufacturing companies. We have seen how the whole thing varies with respect to that. So people like you who have gone through the entire manufacturing process, and when you talk about solar PV power plants, even though the subject is going to focus on the power plants, I think it is a very, very important aspect that the manufacturing, vital aspects of manufacturing in terms of the module qualities which are going in should be known to the people. I'm really thankful to you, and we wish you all success in your deliverance for this kind of program. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, sir.
Now, I'm not sure whether Ravi is available, because he said he will be traveling because of some urgent requirement. Ravi, are you available? He said he will try to join. Ravi Kumar? Probably he's not there. I don't know whether Rajashi has come in. Rajashi Sen? No. Okay, so I think that probably brings us, we had heard from many people. So Sadanandan, what is the next program? Yeah. Unmute.
Next is the vote of thanks by Dr. Digvijay.
Yeah, prior to vote of thanks, I suggest, can we share a program day to day, let us say for next 1 week with the participants?
Yeah.
So that
Sadanandan?
may be useful to them.
No problem. Sadanandan, can you do that?
Yeah.
So we can email them tomorrow. No issue.
We have.
Or if we have some slides over it,
It has already been mailed, isn't
Yes.
it?
We have sent the training schedule.
Yes, sir.
Maybe 1 week schedule, as Dr. Dharamji says.
Yes.
If you are able to, I don't know, we can project it, but at least you can read it over.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, while Mr. Sadanand is accessing it, I'll tell you the.
We can, yeah.
No,
yeah,
no, I'll just give a little idea about the approach to the training. We probably will be having 2 hours of training, 6:30 to 8:30 on working days. So the program starts on 4th of August. And generally it will be on, let us say, for example, Wednesdays or maybe Fridays, Saturday, Sunday. So this will be the kind of days where the program goes on. And Sadanandan, are you ready with the?
Are you able to see?
No.
No issue. We can share it tomorrow
You-
morning. No
you
issue
can-
with that.
You can read it through for the first week's program.
Yeah.
You can just, yeah.
The energy scenario on Thursday 4th for about 2 hours. Hello? Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
we can.
Yeah.
You are.
Yes. And PV basics on Friday and Saturday. And then on Sunday, we will start grid and hybrid systems part 1. And the next, the hybrid, grid and hybrid systems are of 8 hours. It will be on the next Thursday and Friday and Sunday. That is how the first 1 week program is fixed.
Yeah.
We'll be covering energy scenario, PV basics, and grid and hybrid system by 14th of August.
Yep.
Daily 2 hours on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And the faculty members will be Ravi Kumar and Mr. Logabriam.
Logabriam, sir.
Okay.
This training schedule has been emailed to the participants. Not emailed, but it has been already shared with this.
So with your permission, Dr. Dharamji, can I request Dr. Digvijay Singh to propose the vote of thanks?
Please.
Dr. Digvijay Singh?
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So thank you for addressing us, sir. On behalf of the Uttaranchal University, I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this inaugural program. First of all, I thank our special guest, Shri Parag Sharma, CEO, O2 Power Limited, Gurugram, and who, despite his busy schedule, has found the time to address the inaugural program and also suggesting new courses on green technology and manufacturing. I also express my heartfelt thanks to highly experienced faculty, Mr. Lokabiraman, ex-additional general manager, BHEL, and also Mr. Ravi Murthy, who is not right now. He's not with us, but he will be also going to take the program from Siemens and other solar industries. I'm thankful to Dr. Jayakumar, CMD, Arbitrus Private Limited, and Professor Dharambuti, Vice Chancellor, Uttaranchal University, for their guidance and encouragement in the inception of this program. I would like to thank Mr. Sadanandanji, the CEO of the Arbitrus, and also as well as the program coordinator for his unstinted support during the inception of this program. Lastly, I would thank all the participants who have registered and also present with us from various domains like industries and universities. And I wish that this program will be a success for the participant as well as for us also. Okay. Sir.
Thank you very much,
Yeah,
Dr.
we
Digvijay.
do have few participants from Sri Lanka and from Nigeria too.
Oh, fantastic. That's very good news. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.